I will recognize Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Senator Britt, and thank all of you for your testimony here today. Mr. Masad, it's great to see you again.
Senator.
This time in front of the full committee. And Senator Britt's question is a good place to pick up because in Baltimore City, a number of years ago, you may remember, we experienced a ransomware attack. It was one of the earlier ones that became well known, and the attackers wanted to be paid in crypto. And what we've seen with respect to ransomware attacks is that they do, for the most part, use crypto as their currency of choice, and we've also seen that with respect to entities that engage in sanctions evasion. So I think there's a need to be very clear that decentralized finance is fully covered by our anti-money laundering and know your customer regulatory regimes. As we heard, there has been improvement in blockchain technology, and blockchain technology does have some of these important features that could make it easier to track transactions. But the fact also is that about $2 billion was lost in crypto security incidents in the first quarter of 2025 alone, nearly the entirety of what was lost in all of 2024. We have crypto mixers, cross-chain bridges, and other methods to obscure the movement of cryptocurrency. So it's not enough simply to state that we're going to ensure that crypto is subject to BSA and other regulations. We need effective supervision and enforcement. Can you talk briefly about what challenges you see today to getting from where we are to that kind of enforcement that would be necessary to oversee them on parity with the current laws?
Certainly, Senator. First of all, I would suggest we think about what takes place on-chain and what takes place off-chain. Mr. Levin, I have great respect for the work of Chainalysis. They're focusing on activity on-chain, and they do a good job, but we have to remember they're only able to identify illicit actors where there's a known identifiable address, and there could be a lot of other activity happening. So I think we need better monitoring by issuers of digital assets, such as stablecoin issuers, need to be monitoring the chain, need to be applying risk analysis techniques and so forth. With respect to off-chain activity, though, that's where a lot of illicit activity takes place. It takes place through centralized intermediaries. And what Chainalysis does doesn't really reach that. And that's why we need an entire regulatory framework around these entities. We need to prevent wash trading. We need to make sure they're doing a good job on beneficial ownership. And finally, I think we need to give the Treasury Department more tools to enforce sanctions, to enforce money laundering. And there were a number of proposals made about 2 years ago that would enhance its authorities because digital assets are bearer instruments and they can be transferred, on blockchains. And so I think the Treasury Department needs greater authority to impose sanctions and other measures on offshore entities that might be harboring this activity. And there's a variety of other things I'd be happy to discuss with you.
I appreciate that. I want to turn to you, Mr. Painter, and you indicate in your testimony and your writings that the avoidance of even the appearance of a conflict of interest, the appearance of corruption, is critical to ensuring public integrity of the crypto markets, and I agree with that statement. Would you agree that when Eric Trump visited the UAE shortly in advance of President Trump's visit there and helped broker a transaction where the UAE state-owned firm MGX executed a $2 billion transaction in the Trump family stablecoin, that creates the appearance, at least, of a conflict of interest?
It's terrible, and it may be a lot more than the appearance of conflict of interest.
And the president, of course, followed up a visit of his own there and made a deal with a separate UAE state-owned company that allowed the transfer of very sensitive U.S. chips and AI technology to that other company called G42 It turns out that the chair of G42, the company that received the sort of crown jewels of USAI technology, and the chair of the company MGX that Eric Trump did the deal with, is the same person. Would you agree that that also creates the stench of corruption?
It certainly does.
I think it's pretty straightforward as well for anybody looking at the facts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.